The No Nonsense Roundtable. It's a weekly show broadcast on Rochester, New York's 50,000-watt iHeart radio station, News Radio Wham 1180. The host, Dom Geneva, interviews guests from all walks of life, all with amazing stories to tell. What you are about to hear is a recording of a previous broadcast with limited commercials. Now, here's host, Dom Geneva.
Well, welcome everybody to another edition of your No Nonsense Roundtable, Saturday 10 o'clock, right here on News Radio Wham 1180, and all the old shows, or should I say prior shows, are on NoNonsenseRoundtable.com. Now, I'll guarantee you, we've had 300 shows, and this is the first time we've had anybody, well, in this particular business before, and this sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. The fellow's name is Mark Gilbride, and he owns I said it was a llama farm. It's not a llama farm. It's an alpaca farm, right? It's part of this agritourism industry, as you would call it, right?
That's correct. We've been doing the ag tourism for at least 15 years now.
And what did you want to do when you were 10 years old? Were you in the farm? Your family in farming?
No, not at all.
Oh, really?
Believe it or not, I'm a city kid.
Really?
Planted to Bloomfield when I was 16 years old, and ended up finishing my high school years in Bloomfield, but I grew up in the city, yeah.
Oh, really? Tell me about that, because I mean, usually when I talk to somebody that's in the ag business, it's like, the family's been in this for generations.
No, first generation right here. I did marry a dairy farmer's daughter, my wife Sharon, of 49 years at this point.
Oh, God bless you.
And when I made a decision to buy some livestock to eat the grass down behind the barn, she thought I was crazy. She reminded me that she never thought she'd ever marry a farmer, and here we are.
So what did you do before this? I mean, before you got into the farming?
Another very interesting business. I was in the paintball business for 23 years.
No, really?
Around here, we called it splat ball.
Okay.
And I made a pretty good living at it for 23 years.
Oh, that's very, very interesting. But I mean, you didn't go to school for splat ball. I mean, let's go further back. What did you want to do when you were a kid?
Well, my father was a laborer. He installed carpeting throughout his life. Uh-huh. I did learn that trade as we were growing up. And when I first got out of high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Uh-huh. Most of the kids were going to college. I didn't really like school, so I decided to go out in the world and work. I worked at iTech for about 6 months and decided I didn't want to punch a clock for the rest of my life. And moved on to installing carpeting, worked in a warehouse for about 10 years. And then I got approached by my brother-in-law about opening and starting a paintball business in 1983.
Well, that's like the infancy of that, wasn't it? I mean, there was not much paintball back in, like in the 60s and 70s. Or was there?
I played in the second game ever up in New Hampshire. Uh-huh. Where we played the city kids against the country boys. I was on the country boy team. And we played against a group from the New York Stock Exchange, that people that worked in the city. And we played up in New Hampshire. And it was a 2-hour game. And I remember I personally shot Charles Gaines from Gaines Dog Food in the head.
But that sounds fascinating. Now people do this like professionally now. Some people get paid for this, right? I mean,
yeah,
for paintball stuff.
I was in every aspect of that business, from running games and renting guns out to people. And at one point, we had 400 rental guns throughout New York State. We had some sub dealers, and we rented guns to them, provided them with insurance, and they'd return the guns to us at the end of the weekend. And
well, we're going to get to alpacas real soon, but this is just too interesting. This really is too interesting. Now the paintball thing, it's like a cult with some people, right? I mean, they get really involved in this paintball thing. I mean, now there's places now. It's a growing business, isn't it, or not?
I don't believe it's a growing business right now. No, I think I got out at the right time.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was in every aspect of that business, from starting up and running games. Uh-huh. We opened the first indoor facility in Buffalo, where we had 40,000 square feet.
Yeah.
We put fluorescent lights or the black lights throughout the whole place, and we had a special paintball made that glowed
in the dark.
Yeah.
So glowed with
when you got hit in the shoulder with this paintball, it would glow like a 60-watt light bulb on your shoulder. There's no way of hiding it. You were out.
Oh, God.
And then both my partner, who's my brother-in-law, and myself started having kids. And we were running games morning, noon, and night, 7 days a week. And it's like, yeah, we got to slow down a little bit. So
now, just a quick question: how expensive is that? I mean, like you go get your paintball gun, you get your paintballs, and you go to one of these facilities, like you said, indoors. Is it by the hour, or how do they do this?
Well, they usually have like a 3 or 4 hour session.
Are you teamed up against other people, or is everybody out on their own?
No. You form teams.
Uh-huh.
Yep. It's a $20 initiation fee to get in, and then how many times you squeeze the trigger. Back in my day, it was 20 cents a squeeze. now it's less than 5 cents.
Yeah.
It's a couple cents.
Well, and you transition from that to farming alpacas. I love stories of people that pivot. People stay in their own little silo until the silo, rots away out from underneath them. And that's great. Now, how did you get mentally from paintball to farming?
Well, we had merged with a large company in Chicago. I wasn't happy after the merger.
Uh-huh.
I became a small. I was a manager of a small location. So instead of being a sole owner of a small company, I became a small owner of a big company. And I didn't like it. They kind of just transformed me into a manager, and I had a lot of other things that I could possibly do. Like I did a lot of purchasing when we were in business for myself, and they had somebody that was doing purchasing, so they just kind of tucked me away. So I did that for 2 years. I took a year off and investigated the alpaca business because I had a small farmette over in Victor, about 10 acres, and I was mowing it and brush hogging it, trying to keep it neat looking. And I said to my wife on a Saturday afternoon after mowing, I said, it'd be nice if we could find something to eat the grass down instead of me mowing it.
Okay.
That's how it really started.
And so, but that's a different place than you have now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that was just 10 acres. How many acres do you have now?
I have 100 acres right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's a decent amount of acres, sure.
Yeah.
And how many alpacas do you have?
We have 68 right now.
Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa. That's awfully interesting. And let's get this in really early because this is Labor Day weekend, whatever. Now you're open on Saturday and Sunday.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and it'd be a great day trip if you want to go see it. But you're in Bloomfield, which is my neck of the woods. Exit 10 on Route 390. Get there and just go east a little bit, and you're in Bloomfield, in West Bloomfield and East Bloomfield. There's so many Bloomfields. I have no idea why, but it seems like it's a convenient place to go. And let's get in before the break because we're about ready to head into the break. Your website.
LazyAcreAlpacas.com.
And the alpacas, you have the alpacas there, you have gift shop and everything, but also alpacas, there's a lot of alpaca merch, isn't there?
Oh yeah. We have an old 2-story, almost 200-year-old barn that's just loaded with everything alpaca. You name it. Well,
I have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably one of the more interesting journeys that I've taken in the first section of his show, and we will be taking more twists and turns right after this commercial announcement. This is Dom for my friend Jim Shelley and his Fanatics Pub and Blue Stage in Lyman, New York. Like I say, a short scoot down 390 to exit 10, make a left at the light. A couple miles down the road, there's Fanatics Pub and Blue Stage. You can see their nightly shows by going to fanaticspub.com, but this time of the year, his patio is open for free entertainment 3 to 6 on weekends. Go! It's a great place. Hey gang, this is Dom. This section of the show is sponsored by, me. A couple of things here. One is now you can go to nononsenseroundtable.com and see a list of businesses that I use. They're listed under, businesses that I use, and I don't charge to be on that page, nor do I take endorsement fees. It's just places I can recommend. Next, if you like the idea of being a sponsor of one of the sections, it's affordable. Go to nononsenseroundtable.com and contact me there. Well, welcome back, everybody. We're speaking to a very, very, very interesting gentleman. His name is Mark Gilbride, and he owns Lazy Acres Alpacas. And we're just starting to talk about the alpacas now because he was talking about his former life and being a big-time paintball aficionado, executive coordinator, and whatever. Talk about a transition. Well, what do you want to do when you're 10 years old? Well, let's see. I want to do paintball, and then I want to do some alpacas. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Alpacas. So tell me about the alpaca business. Now you say you had this farm that you had was 10 acres. Now you got this large farm. You got 60 alpacas on it. And what made you decide alpacas as opposed to pumpkins?
Well, I started researching. Being in the Finger Lakes, there's a lot of horse farms around. Horses are beautiful. When I approached a lot of horse farms, talking about what I wanted to do, because we're close to the Finger Lakes racetrack, we could board horses, thoroughbred horses. They kind of talked me out of it. Horses are pretty medically not stable. They eat a lot of hay.
Not stabled. Well, they're stabled, but not stable.
Right. Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I kind of gave up on the horse thing. And also, when a horse steps on your foot, they break bones. Where an alpaca steps on your foot, you say, "Excuse me, get your dirty foot off my foot." So then I looked into goats and sheep, and nothing seemed to be quite the right fit. But within a 6-week period, alpacas came into my life. I used to help coach lacrosse over at Victor, and I walked into the phys ed office, and there was a gym teacher there who was getting ready to retire, and he had a screensaver picture of an alpaca.
Okay.
I'd never seen one before. I says, "Bob, what is that?" He says, "That's going to be my retirement income."
Really?
I said, "Really?
Okay.
What's so special about alpacas?" He says, "You don't have to kill them to enjoy them. You give them a haircut every year." I said, "Wow, that's pretty cool." So then I went home, and this is 1999, researched them on the internet like we do these days. And then I went on a business trip. And on the airline magazine, I opened up one of their magazines, and here's a 2-page article on alpacas with a picture of one. So I said, "Wow, this is kind of an interesting sign here." So I go home, and I said to my wife, I said, "How about alpacas?" And she said, "What is an alpaca?" So I had to research it further, and I was coming to the dinner table with all kinds of information about alpacas. Do you know they use a communal dung pile to go to the bathroom in one spot? Wow. Do you know?
You don't have to go picking up their dung. I mean,
right. You just go to one spot if you need.
Sounds like a great pet.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
They also, when they go to give birth to their babies, and the babies are called crias, they give birth during the warmest part of the day. Now, for a farmer, that's phenomenal because I get a good night's sleep every night.
Oh, yeah.
So they give birth between 10 and 4. If we haven't had a cria born by 7 o'clock, mom shuts down and starts up the next day.
Yeah.
Like I get a good night's sleep every night. And I learned that through trial and error. We had a girl that was in labor all afternoon into the evening. This is early on. I took my sleeping bag, went out and slept in the barn with her next to me.
Oh.
And one of the worst night's sleep I got.
Yeah.
I get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, go in, grab a bowl of cereal. I'm gone for 20 minutes. Guess what happens in 20 minutes? That's when she had the baby. She was waiting for me to leave.
Well, the thing is that they have these compelling eyes too. I mean, they just seem like they're gentle souls.
Yeah, I get a lot of comments from both therapists and doctors saying it's very therapeutic to come to the farm because they communicate by a gentle They just hummed each other. Very, very tranquil. And yeah, you're right. They do have really big eyes and usually long eyelashes. The women go crazy over their eyelashes. They're 2 inches long.
Yeah. Well, the thing too is that your statement that you don't have to kill them to have them be profitable for you. I mean, that's kind of cool. You have something going on. It's sometimes you take a look at one of the animals, and we all, I'm not a vegetarian or something, but you look at a cow and the cow's eyes, looking at you, and you're like, I'm sorry I have to eat you, but I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. If God didn't want you to eat animals, why did he make them out of meat?
Right.
That's awful, isn't it? So how many did you start out with? I mean, you didn't start out with 60. I mean,
Back in the year 2000, I received 7 pregnant females on Halloween in the year 2000.
what do you mean received? Somebody gifted them to you, or?
No, I bought them.
Oh, okay.
But that was the delivery date.
Okay.
And they came from Weedsport, New York. There was a large farm there, and he was an engineer. And I looked at his farm. It was neat. It was clean. It was very good. So I decided to buy from him and use him as my mentor.
Well, that's wonderful. And you're open today, right? I mean, you're open
My wife is doing a tour right now, and I'll be back at 1:00 to do another tour.
I'm going to follow you there. I haven't been to your place, so Nita and I will come over this afternoon. I mean,
that's awesome.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Now you really got me intrigued. And you see, people, I can have guests on my show that I know nothing about, and I do very little research, and they just kind of take off on their own. Now here's a perfect case. I had no idea of all this stuff. Now you have 60 of them. Now here's a silly question: do you have names for each of them?
Everyone has a birth date, and everyone has a name.
Now, can you recognize them? Like, you know, this one. Well, give me some of the names.
For the boys, we use little macho names. We have Tyson, Emperor.
Aww.
Yeah.
And for the females?
Females, we have Madeline, Davina. She just had a baby named Diva.
Okay. So do they mate for life, or they kind of freewheeling, or what is their social life like?
We choose the mating partner.
Okay.
Yeah. The boys are on one side of the farm. The girls are on the other.
Okay.
And we have 19 boys, and out of those 19 boys, 7 of them we use for breeding.
Okay, there's the lucky ones.
Well, the
lucky one, lucky two, lucky
the highest quality animals that I can afford.
Yeah, I could see that.
The other 12 are fiber-bearing animals that produce a lot of fiber.
Mm.
Yeah, but they might have a defect. They might have an overbite. They might have a crooked leg. They might, something that we're not wanted to breed into our program.
Right. It's not necessarily the what you don't call it fur.
Fleece. It's called
fleece.
Yep.
Okay. It may not necessarily have something to do with the fleece. It might have to do with a genetic characteristic that you don't want to pass down, I guess you're saying. Huh?
Correct. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like there's a hell of a learning curve with this. I mean, it doesn't come with an owner's manual.
It does not. So it's 24 years, and I'm still learning every day.
Well, what's the biggest surprise that you had that you got into this? You're like, oh, gee, I had no idea that was that. Anything?
Boy.
Well, good. I stumped you on a question.
Yeah.
No. That comes from you knowing what you're doing. I mean, but like conferences you go to and stuff like that. Do you have an association for llamas? I mean, that. It's alpacas, not a strange. It's not. I'm sorry, I did that again. Yeah, I have to say alpacas. I gotta think of these like it's a guy. It's alpaca. That's what I gotta do.
Well, early on, I would go to the competitions and the shows, and the shows were about 5 hours away, Harrisburg, Springfield, Massachusetts, and I would learn what a good alpaca is through the judges. Fineness and density is huge.
Okay,
and then during those shows, they'd have classes, and I go to the classes and learn as much as I possibly could, soak it all in.
Okay. Well, we're about ready to head to a news break, but when we come back, I mean, the obvious questions, we're going to talk about what this fleece could be made into and what you have and the rest of the stuff. And we're going to hear more names as you have time to think about them during the news break. But we'll be right back, and we'll talk about alpacas. Oh, God almighty. And now, here's co-founder of the Rascals, inductee of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Rochester guy, Gene Cornish, to say a word about his favorite team.
This is Gene Cornish of the Rascals. I'd like to think of myself as the Red Wings #1 fan. And speaking of #1, the boys are #1 in the standings right now. Here's this week's schedule.
The Red Wings are home this week. Labor Day, all tickets are just $5. Wednesday is a Cocos Locos jersey giveaway. And Fred Jackson signs autographs. Thursday, Bruce the Bat Dog makes his debut with a Bruce jersey giveaway. For tickets, visit RedWingsBaseball.com.
Well, welcome back. We're having a very lively and wonderful conversation with Mark Gilbride, who is the owner of Lazy Acres Alpacas. You know, for, I don't know, brain cramp, I'm calling them llamas. Okay, what's the difference between a llama and an alpaca?
Well, a llama is 3 times the size of an alpaca.
Uh-huh.
An alpaca is about 5 foot tall. Llamas are 6 and 7 foot tall.
Okay.
A llama will weigh 350 to 500 pounds. Our alpacas weigh 140 to 200 pounds.
Now, do they travel all together? Like when you go up to a fence, all 15 of them come up to you at the same time, or they just kind of lazing around? Or
no, they're a herd animal. So
okay, so they are, yeah. Okay,
yeah.
so okay, I'm sorry.
They'll all go out and graze for like 40 minutes, then they'll come back into the barn and rest and sit in front of the fans and get drinks of water, and then go back out and graze all together.
Can you tell some of them some of the others more than the others? I mean, do they kind of group together like in 2s or 3s or something, or not?
Yeah, they're really family oriented.
Yeah, okay.
You know, and on a cool night, they'll sleep outside. We've had a couple cool nights up to this point.
Uh-huh.
And you'll look out and you'll see little family segments
Aww.
all sleeping together.
Aww.
Yeah.
Oh, so tell me about the tour. You know, you have a tour going on today at 1. Go ahead.
So we do tours 6 days a week, every day but Monday. Mm-hmm. And they start at 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock. Mm-hmm. You can go online and book your tour online, pay for it online, just show up 5 minutes ahead of time. Mm-hmm. We have a gift shop where you'll check in, and then the tour guide, we have like 5 volunteer tour guides that come, and they know a lot about alpacas and the business, and they'll take you around. It's a walking tour around our barn complex, which is not a lot of steps. Mm-hmm. So if you had a walker or a cane, it's not an issue. You'll learn a lot about the history of alpacas, the history of the farm, because it has a really interesting story. It is 187 years old at this point, and I'm only the 3rd owner of that farm. So a lot of history there. We talk about the history of alpacas. We talk about where they came from. I have a lot of pictures to show. We go through the barns and talk about what they used to be used for and what they're used for now. Then we go out and take a look at the pastures, and we talk about pastures and how the animals are separated out there. And then we have a shearing barn, and all these barns are labeled. The shearing barn is where the shearing happens once a year, and we have bench seating in there, and we'll watch 2 videos, one on the shearing process, because we can't show that on our tour because it happens once a year, and then the process of how to take the raw fleece and turn it into yarn. We have a video on that.
Well, one thing I want to get in here more than once is that it's not that far from anywhere. I mean, I like to highlight places that people maybe that are living in the city don't have on the radar, but it's not that far away. When you come down to it, I had the dealership in Avon. It was 20 minutes down the road. And you can get there, and it seemed like it was a long way. But once people got there, it's not that far. I mean, Bloomfield is not that far. You go to exit. It's the same thing I said with Jimmy Shelley's blues place in Lima. You know, it's 10 minutes down the road to exit 10. You know, and you just go east. You know, and it's the same thing with you, right? I mean, you're right off of 5 and 20, right?
Yeah, we are 20 minutes from Pittsford, downtown Pittsford. Right. 20 minutes from Canandaigua. From Webster, it might be a 30 or 35 minute drive. Yeah, but. Yeah, when people get out there and say, "Oh, it's not that far."
Well, and the other thing is, it sounds sweet. It sounds sweet. You get these big doe-eyed with big eyelashes, and they just seem to be so compelling of an animal, and you don't eat them. So the kids gotta be crazy about these things. Right?
Yeah, the highlight of our tour is towards the end of the tour, we'll actually go along a fence line and feed them. So they have a little supplement. It's not like grain you'd give a horse or a cow. It's supplements, but they are drawn to that. They don't snack very well. They don't like apples, pears. They just like this little supplement. So we give everybody a couple ounce cup of food, and they go up to the fence line and feed them. And then we have hand sanitizer in bathrooms there, and they'll clean their hands and then go in the gift shop and buy a souvenir is what we're looking for.
So what is some of the products that you make from the fleece? Because the fleece is very soft and
Very soft and very warm. It's hypoallergenic. It's a dry fiber when you shear them. If you come to the tour, you'll learn all that. And it gets turned into beautiful sweaters, shawls, scarves, gloves, hats, mittens, rugs, duvets, sofa throws, blankets. I mean, just phenomenal stuff. And it's very high end.
well, and when you live when you live here and you have like 12, you have 12 months of pseudo winter, it's got to be. That's got to be. Now, do you have obviously you have a busier time of year than others, right? You're probably heading into. Are you heading into your busiest time of the year? I would think with the fall. No, or not?
Yes, with the clothing and the purchases of the apparel, we go into that when it gets cold, because that's when people. Alpaca is 7 times warmer than wool.
Really?
Soft as cashmere. Without that itch or prick factor, it's a huge draw. Hunters and fishermen, things like that are outdoors in the elements, construction workers, love the socks. Our biggest selling item is our socks, and we have a whole wall of socks. Yeah.
Well, one of the things this goes under the umbrella of agritourism, I guess you would say, because that's the farming industry has, I think, morphed over the years, to the sort of non-traditional things. This is non-traditional. I mean, this is obviously, I don't think you have a lot of competition. The funny thing is when you were talking before about the horse breeders and whatever, and the horse people, they're going, well, you don't want to go into our business. Our business is terrible. Well, yeah. How about asking about, like people coming up to you, how about an alpaca farm? No, you don't want to get into alpaca. That's competition for me. Do you have you don't have any competition? I mean, are there many alpaca farms around?
Well, believe it or not, there is a lot of alpaca farms.
Really?
They're farms that have 5, 7, maybe 11 animals.
But not 60, yeah.
Not 60, no. They might have a bedroom that has a few boxes of clothing, or I have a 2-story barn that has full.
Well, I got to see this.
Yeah.
If I actually did research, I would have come and see you before this. But it probably wouldn't be as interesting a show.
So we have 2 seasons, kind of.
Okay.
When the kids get out of school, we have our tours that are mostly parents and kids looking for something to do. And then we have our fall season where we get busy with tours, but the people that are buying stuff, it changes. It gets a lot more.
Okay.
They're not buying a pair of socks for a souvenir. They're buying 5 pairs for Christmas.
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And then I also am mobile. I have a trailer that I load up 5 racks of goods, and I'm at the Chris Crindle Market in Canandaigua. I'm at the Grape Festival. I'm at the Garlic Festival. I do all these festivals. I'm busy from come up September right through Christmas, and then I'm at Rock Holiday Village all winter.
Well, that's
right up to Christmas.
Oh, you're in Rock Holiday Village?
Yep.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, we have a beautiful booth there, and a lot of people visit us there.
Wow. So I mean, it's that's nice. You're reaching out to the Rochester market. Now, we're about ready to head into another break, but we're going to go over a little bit more of your website, how to get there, what's on the website, and we call this that's the retail section of the show. So we're going to be talking more about this after this. This is Dom from my friends at Jack Greco Furniture. You drive your car, you live with your furniture. That's why Nita and I buy our furniture locally from Jack Greco. Hey, lots of old name furniture manufacturers switch to mass production, producing their furniture who knows where. Why settle for that? Jack has quality pieces made by true craftsmen, and if you need a custom piece, Jack can do that for you too. The season's upon us. Jack has quality outdoor furniture you won't find anywhere else. Go to jackgreco.com. This is Dom for my friend John McClurg. John has 2 dealerships, McClurg Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and McClurg Chevrolet, both in Perry. Hey, you don't buy a car all that often, so when you do, shouldn't you go to a place you can put your trust in? You can depend on McClurg. John's dealerships are family dealerships where people you deal with today are the people you will deal with tomorrow. No nonsense. Go visit them at McClure, ChryslerDodgeJeep.com or McClureChevrolet.com. Well, we're having a really, really wonderful time with Mark Gilbride, who is the owner of Lazy Acre Alpacas. This conversation is absolutely delightful to me because I'm learning something I never learned before, and I'm actually going to this afternoon. I'm going to go take a tour with Nita of Lazy Acre Alpaca Farm, and surprisingly, somebody who I really respect because he took some pivots in his life, he did this and that and the other thing, and finally ended up with, seems like you believe what you're supposed to do. Yeah, and I like I said, nobody says at 10 years old, what do you want to do? I want to own an alpaca farm. Oh my Lord, this is just a wonderful twist and turn in your life. But so we're talking about the alpacas. 60 alpacas. It's in Bloomfield. It's not all that far away. Gives tours. Now you have a tour at 11:30 at 1, so that compels me to say it's like an hour tour then, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, it's an hour tour. And so can people go there when you don't have a tour, like just kind of mill around, or?
Yeah, we have a lot of people that come just for the gift shop.
Okay.
The alpacas are always there. And if they don't want a tour, maybe they've already been on a tour, they will buy a cup of food and go up to the fence line and just feed them. Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. Now, let me ask you a question. One of these silly things I always like to ask people. Tell me something that was expected, unexpected, funny, compelling. Tell me a story. Tell me an alpaca story.
Okay. On my tours, I usually tell the story about Austin, one of our breeding males. And about 3 years ago, my wife and I went away for 3 days. And they have a couple of high school kids, volunteers that come in and help clean up the barns when I'm not there. And they left at 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, and the boys were in pasture 1 and the girls were out in pasture 8. So there's like 6 pastures in between them. And as soon as they left, Austin decided to go visit the girls. So he takes off, and all my fences are electrified. So he goes over one, goes under another, goes through one. And I don't know what he did with the other couples, but he ended up with 48 girls for 18 hours. Okay? I say he's one of my best breeding alpacas. So the gestation for these girls is 11 and a half months. Uh-huh. So when I got home on Monday afternoon, he was still with a lady. And pulled him off there. I probably saved his life because if he would have continued on, he probably would have died. But I pulled him off, and 11 and a half months later, we had 5 Austin babies. So we now have an Austin-proof fence set up in between pasture 4 and 5 that he cannot get through. And it's also ruined him in regards to hanging out with the boys, because all he's concerned with is all the girls.
Oh, yeah. I guess you would say he was a bit of a frisky little fellow. Is that it?
Oh, you bet.
And determined. And it sounds like intelligent.
Yeah. I don't know how he knew that we were away, but he had figured that out.
That's the trials and tribulations of being an alpaca farmer. So I would imagine on your website you have pictures of the different merchandise you sell.
We have a whole website dedicated to online shopping.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go on there and pick out anything that's in the store. My wife is in charge of the website. She's got everything that's in the stores also on the website.
Now, with the 60 of them that you have, are you pretty much satisfied with that? Are you going to grow them even more? Or I mean, what are your future plans? Are you pretty well? I think I just asked him a trick question and didn't even know it. Are you expanding, like going to buy another farm, or say when you kind of chuckle and look like that? There's something that you're planning that your wife doesn't know about.
No.
Okay.
My wife is the idea gatherer.
Okay.
I'm the one who puts up the front saying no, and all of a sudden I figure out how I'm going to do what she said.
And you've been married how many years?
49 years.
How did you meet?
She called me up when I was a junior in high school and asked me to go to a birthday party.
She called you?
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. I mean, back in the day, that was very unusual for
sure.
Yeah.
And 5 kids and 10 grandchildren later.
Oh, God bless you. That's great. Now they must. I mean, do they live around here or not?
Yeah. 9 of them live within 10 minutes of me, which I love.
Do they help you out at the farm?
Yes, they do.
Oh, that's great.
All the boys get together and help me out when I need help.
What's the biggest challenge? What is the one thing that kind of keeps you up at night with the herd?
Well, I get a good night's sleep every night. Nothing really keeps me up.
Is it taking care of them like physically? I mean, I'm sure that not every veterinarian in the world is really good with alpacas, right? I mean, you have to specialize with that. Is it the weather? Is it hail?
They are very hardy animals.
Okay.
They love the cold. They don't like the hot, humid weather. So we have fans and pools for them to go into to keep them comfortable. But I guess the one thing that we're always scratching our head over is parasites. They're eating off the grass, picking up parasites, and once in a while we have to medicate them and figure out what's going on with them.
Now what you said the gestation period is like 11 months?
11 and a half months.
So, and how many breeders did you say you had?
7.
Seven. Okay, so you're only having 7 babies a year then?
No, I have 48 girls.
Oh, breeders. I they
are not married.
I inverted my my calculation there. Okay, yeah, I got you. So you're having how many births a year? You said.
Well, we had 4 this year.
Okay.
We had 11 last year.
Okay.
And it looks like we have 12 pregnant right now for next year.
Okay, so the herd is growing then, no, or not?
It's growing, but
you sell them to other.
Oh
okay.
yeah. We've that's a big part of the business is selling.
Where was the genesis of this whole thing? Because I mean, alpacas. This does it go back, like 150 or 200 years in the United States, or is this something relatively new?
Oh, it's fairly new. The first alpaca came in the country in 1983.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Because you didn't hear about this when I was a boy.
No. And
and where was that? I mean, like physically, where was that? So, I mean, what state?
Where did they come in? In California, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a bunch of investors that got together and decided to import alpacas.
Okay.
And some of them were veterinarians.
Okay.
And they decided to do 5 imports of 500 animals each from Peru. And they had the vets go down and pick out which ones they wanted. Mm-hmm. They brought them up here and sold them for a lot of money because they're very, very rare. Very rare. Okay. And it was the forethought of those guys to DNA type every alpaca that came in the country. So we now have the most sophisticated registry there is in the livestock world.
This is fascinating.
Oh, it is.
In marketing, we call this niche marketing. It's not like having a produce farm where you have 5 different products that you're making. It's niche marketing, and it's fascinating. It's fascinating in the fact that it sounds like it's a lot of fun. It really does. It sounds like a lot of work, but it also sounds like an awful lot of fun.
I enjoy every minute that I work at the farm.
Yeah. I could tell looking in your eyes. Yeah.
I'm pretty passionate about it, and I just really enjoy what I'm doing.
Well, you think about just the meaning of life. You've been married all these years. You're doing what you want to do, and you have these children and grandchildren. Like, what else is there? Other than being on the No Nonsense radio show, 10 o'clock Saturdays, and we are about to have to say so long to you because we're coming to the end of the show. But I'm going to see you in a few minutes. I mean, I might even follow you. Okay. But thanks for coming on the show. This has been a really lot of fun. I think I met a new friend or a potential friend.
You for sure did.
Okay.
Yeah. And come out to the farm and see us.
I promise you I will. Everybody, 10 o'clock next week, Saturday, it's the No Nonsense Roundtable. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we do a radio show, we have only a certain amount of minutes, but let's call this kind of YouTube Plus. We have a couple of extra minutes we can get to spend with Mark Gilbride, who is the owner of Lazy Acres Alpacas. And there were a couple of things that were coming to light after the show, and we were talking about them. And one of them was the fact that being in Bloomfield, and you have the tours at 11:30 and at 1, it's coming up to be the fall. So, if you're going pumpkin pumpkin picking or taking a trip around the Finger Lakes, you can just stop into his place in Bloomfield and not have to spend the whole day just doing one thing or going out for one thing or the other. And that was a good point. We should have put that in the show. Yeah,
our fall season. Things get picking up and people want to come out and see the fall leaves and stuff.
Yeah.
And we do an open house. This year we're doing it the week before Halloween. Bring your kids out in costumes and they get a gift bag, a goodie bag, see the alpacas and take that we set up with QR codes and podiums throughout the farm. So you walk around at your own leisure. Spend as much time with the alpacas as you want. We put the alpacas on one side and the boys and girls on two different sides, and you go out there and visit both of them. We usually bring in a bunch of antique tractors. We usually have a dozen antique tractors spread out through the farm, so it's very decorative, and we decorate it with mums and pumpkins.
Well, and that's the thing, too, is that you can put this on your list of a number of different things to do when you take a nice ride during the fall to the Finger Lakes region. I mean, there are a lot of things right around you. I mean, when you get to Bloomfield, you can get to Canandaigua's not that far away.
Right. Ganondagan, the Indian Museum, is 7 minutes away. Go down to the Lima and you go to the Blues Festival there. At
Jim Shelley's. Jim Shelley's place. The hours of to repeat this again, the hours of the tour are 1:30 and 1 o'clock rather, and 11:30.
11 and 1 o'clock.
11 and 1 o'clock. Well, at least I'm not calling them llamas anymore.
Correct.
That's right. So. You have, what's the name of the frisky llama? Is he still there?
Austin. Oh yeah.
Is Austin still there?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can point him out.
Okay. You can. We have something during the show. If you haven't listened to the show of Austin, the Frisky Llama. I think there's a kid's book. Well, no, that wouldn't be really appropriate.
No, that'd be an adult book.
Austin, the Frisky Llama. Like Don Al has the Christmas Adventures of Sibley the Mouse. That's okay. The Frisky Llama that might be PG-13. Okay, well, this is our special little addition that you get as a bonus to the YouTube. And Mark, again, pleasure to meet you.
Thanks very much for having me, Don.
Thanks for listening. Tune in every Saturday from 10 to 11 on News Radio Wham 1180. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll make more.